Wait until the installer is verified.
So this is compaction. This is an example of compaction. It's just things laid down in layers. Once we get further on, you'll learn the laws that regulate this.
310.
There's laws that regulate everything.
Yeah, I got Google.
Here's cementation.
See, this is a lot more faster.
Here's an example of cementation. I'll start this over here this time. Okay, this is just a bunch of different rocks glued together.
Oh,
Chemical processes, these shells break down. These shells break down. And they glue themselves together. Organic. They used to be animal shells. And then plastic. Plastic is just a bunch of different stuff glued together. But again, I'm only going to quiz you on the compaction, cementation, and the chemical. I always make 5 extra copies. So somebody...
I swear I got it. Like I really thought I did.
Stratification is just another way of saying layering. This picture just zoomed in. Metamorphic rock. Metamorphic rock forms in a couple of different ways. You have contact metamorphism. You have regional metamorphism. And then foliated metamorphism. You need to get the compound. So this is contact. Basically, it's a magma chamber. Okay, let's say this piece of granite is on the outside of the magma chamber. The very edge of the magma chamber kind of heats up. So this is going to heat up. So it comes in contact with this, changing it. Regional metamorphism. So it heats everything up. You can kind of see you have the edge there. And then it goes beyond. So that extra reach, it's kind of like the whole using a metal spoon to make spaghetti or whatever. And you leave the spoon in the boiling water and you go grab the spoon and all of a sudden it's hot.
Oh, God, it's loose.
Okay, kind of the same thing. This is another example of regional. This is the Yellowstone supervolcano. Okay, it's not going to erupt in our life.
Goggle.
Leave your phone. Okay, you've got the magma chamber that's heating everything up. And then the Yellowstone hotspot down here, which is feeding the magma chamber. Okay, metamorphic rocks. We'll be talking about slate and marble. I do have a little bit of gneiss and some schist, but I'm going to pass around slate. You know, I did not say the naughty word. I said schist. Just to clarify, that is slate that I'm passing around now. So that's what the old-time chalkboards are made out of. Because they were vintage, retro, however you want to call it.
Is this just a piece of chalkboard?
No, that's actual slate.
Okay.
It's used in making the chalkboard, yeah.
That's a weird.
So technically you could have a sample of
That's a weird shape.
chalkboard.
I doubt it, not this, because the chalkboard is smooth. smooth down, this is rough.
This could be an old chalkboard.
Could be.
What is? Wait.
Do I have all my samples?
No, not yet.
Those
Keep those
are-
moving.
This feels like a. This actually feels like a. This actually feels like something.
These are different types of metamorphic rocks.
Spread out, I'll put it up here.
Foliated, excuse me, foliated versus non-foliated.
I don't know.
What's the
it
big
looks like
difference here that you notice?
Weird shape, by the way.
One has layers.
Okay, is it
One is layered,
sedimentary or is it?
That's
metamorphic?
foliated
Sedimentary.
metamorphism.
Ah. What do you
The
suppose
rock
it's
is
made out of?
changed in layers.
Any one of you. What's it made out of?
Slay.
Slay.
Alright,
That's not what it's made out of, that's what it's. Oh, if it's metamorphic.
let me disconnect here, let me fix my attendance real quick and then we'll talk about your lab.
My lab thing.
Alright,
I have my paperwork straightened out.
you're going to be using 3 different types of rock. Pebble, like river rock, marble chips, and something called calcium sulfate. It's the end of the day, I can talk. What you're going to do is for each, this is going to take a couple days. So this is why we're going to start it tomorrow, and we'll probably finish it Thursday.
Oh, is this the lab?
All right?
Is this the lab?
Yes.
Oh.
Okay, this is the lab. I need your eyes and ears. You're going to be dealing with water, not a big deal. Rocks, not a big deal. Glass is a big deal. Okay, if it slips out of your hand because it's wet and it breaks, okay, this is why you're going to be wearing safety goggles. And if I hear something break, or even if I'm working with another student and something breaks and I don't hear it, say, Mr. D, I dropped the mason jar. Okay, please don't though, I've only got 12. Yes.
Do we need gloves?
No.
Okay.
If you want to wear gloves, I do have rubber gloves you can wear to help grip, but you're not going to need them. What you're going to be doing is for each rock type, you're going to start out with an initial mass. So you're going to have a plastic cup, put the rocks in the cup, and then weigh everything together. Put it in your mason jars with fill it about 3/4 of the way, halfway, with water. Put the top on, and then set a timer for 3 minutes, and then just kind of start rocking it. If you want to shake it, like a thumb cup shaker or something, you know, however you want to do it. But for every time you do that, you got to use the same motion then. So if you're just going to rock it back and forth like this, which most people usually do, you've got to do that for each one. And then you do that for 3, 6, 9, and 12 minutes. That's for part A of the lab. You write your data down, you pick one type of rock for that one. Either the calcium sulfate, the marble chips, or the other one. For part 2, you follow the instructions of part A.
Oh.
But you're doing it a
Where
little
did this come
differently. And then there's like, I think, 6,
That's weird.
7 or 8 questions. I forget which one.
These are rocks.
The very first
Yeah.
one says to graph.
That was like a cliff.
Graph your
It was like a cliff. Someone was gonna fall and fall.
I tell you in question 1 what to put on the x-axis, what to put on the y-axis. All you have to do is label
That
it
was
properly,
nine.
plot your points, draw the line connecting the points. Done. As far as the graph goes. But then you use all your data information to answer the other questions. You can work in groups of 2. There might be one group of 3 or somebody working on it themselves.
All right. Did they already passed around?
I have 12 mason jars and there's 23 people.
Maybe see if you've seen this.
Okay.
Once the 3 minutes is up, okay, you're like this, and all of a sudden, bing, 3 minutes is up. Hot and steamy goes bing. If you're a fan of Jeff Dunham. You take the top off. There's a wire mesh up there. You take a wire mesh square, put it over the mason jar, open it. Over a sink, take the mason jar, put it upside down, drain the water out. Give it a couple of shakes, get as much water out of it as you want, or as you can. Then pour it into your cup and re-weigh it. Because after 3 minutes, you should have a weight. After the next set of 3 minutes, you should have a weight. Those are what you plot on the graph.
Yeah.
Calcium salt, it says take two or three
Why don't you sit there?
tablespoons and use that.
Got my reasons.
I don't care if you do 2 or 3 tablespoons
got my
on the
reasons.
marble chips
I got my
or the
reasons.
river pebble,
I understand.
but please only do 1 tablespoon of the calcium sulfate. That's all I have. That's the small glass jar up there with the white rocks in it. That's the calcium sulfate. Please only use 1 scoop. Because there's 11 of you, or there'll be 11 or 12 groups. And take turns. You know, one person does 3 minutes. You know, let's say Lily does 3 minutes, and then Purvis is getting tired. She can either switch, or if she's paired up with Roman, then Roman can take over. You know, share the work. Okay, I'll let you pick your groups unless things start getting squirrely. And I'm gonna divide the groups a little differently. It's not a hard lab, it's just tedious. It's a lot of measuring, a lot of weighing. As far as the scales go, I do have 1 digital scale, so if there's going to be someone working at home, they can use the digital scale if they want. Actually, I have 2, but I'm only going to bring out 1. If you set your weights at 0 on a triple beam scale, and it's not balancing out right, it's not right, you know, the 2 lines aren't lined up. There's a little knob under the plate where you set your stuff to be weighed. There's a little knob. You adjust that knob to raise it up or down. You got to make sure the weights are all the way at 0. All 3 weights are at 0. Otherwise, you guys have used the scales before. I just didn't know if you knew that. What questions do you have?
Are they supposed to use a tear?
If the one person is using the digital scale, yes. But the triple beam scales no.
Okay.
Triple beam scales, the tear is just resetting the weights back to 0.
Yeah.
Every time you weigh your stuff, you have to make sure your weights are at 0. And then move it. Like I said, it's not a hard lab. I've got spoons, I've got graph paper.
Well,
Make sure your name is on your
I
graph
only
paper
got 7 minutes
in
left.
case your lab.
Ah,
And
yes.
you each have to turn in, you can write all the data on 1 sheet, but you're each going to get a lab sheet. So you just have to copy the lab over because you each have to turn in a lab. Unless you agree,
It's done so I can
and
try
then
to
just
put
put both your names on 1 lab, turn it in. Just make sure your graph paper has both your names. So I know to give proper credit.
I will ask them
Where credit
after
needs to be
class.
due.
Hey, are you supposed to turn this
If that's done, yeah, turn it in. One question. All right, there's like six minutes left of the class. For those of you that had just handed out the Newsella article, you can start reading that. Don't just screw off. Okay, a lot of you owe me work. I'm going to come in tomorrow morning, as I do every morning, 5:30, 6 o'clock. I'm going to go through Edpuzzle. I'm going to go through Google Classroom, make sure assignments are done. Okay. And I'm going to start putting in zeros unless you get the assignment to me by the end of the day. those zero. If you get the assignment to me by the end of the day, I will remove the 0 and put in your points.
So, got yourself things to do tomorrow?
Huh?
Things to do tomorrow?
Based on the amount of work that you guys owe me, I'll probably just make tomorrow a work day. And we'll push the lab off.
I remember when you couldn't hold. Remember that day when you were like, I can't hold it anymore. Yeah.
You know why you keep bringing it up? Yeah.
Sorry.
Are you paying attention like this? And so, what is your lab going to be?
My lab?
That you're going to be doing? That you spent the last 10 minutes explaining.
So you're going to do something with it. You're just gonna
See where you're at.
me? Oh, okay. You're not doing it. Okay. This is where I left. Hold on. Hey,
I apologize.
do you know about this? Oh, okay.
No, you're at a 60.4. Yeah.
Hey, I did
Okay,
say
so
that I
for
was.
this, what you do, okay, so you add a proton to your lithium.
Yeah.
What does that change? Does it change the element? Does it change the charge? Does it change the mass? And then how does it change it?
I think. How does it change it? So the mass.
I don't follow. That's what you have to figure out. So you have to go back to the simulation, add a proton, and see what it does.
That's in. You
That's
have
the wrong simulation.
Okay, that's yeah. That was for the. That
You're
was
in
for
the
this.
build an atom.
Yeah.
So you want to go to that simulation. Here's the link.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay. So go to your simulation.
Okay. Go to yeah.
Go to your simulation.
Atom.
An atom. Put 3 protons, 4 neutrons, and 3 electrons.
I heard 3 protons.
3 protons, 4 neutrons.
4 neutrons. 3
And
electrons.
3 electrons.
Okay.
Okay, so now click here. Click on that green plus and click here. Drop that down. Okay. Now it said now go back to your assignment. Okay, it says add a proton.
I was
so
right.
go back to your simulation and add a proton.
Add a proton.
What does that do?
It changes the mass.
And
It changes the it changes the element,
okay, and
it changes the charge.
okay. So now what you do is you go back to the assignment and you highlight all of these.
Okay.
And then just highlight it with a different color or bold it or whatever, just so I know that's what you're doing.
Okay. Okay, you're not.
Now he gets extra time, right?
Extra time.
Even though I've extended this twice already.
Wait, what did you give extra time for?
It's just don't
Question.
worry about it. And then how does it change? So now, yes, ma'am. Oh, thank you.
They transflected iron dust.
Oh, okay, thank you. So, how does the element? Why does the element change?
Because you added
added what?
You added a proton.
There you go.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
The proton. Well, you got it right.
I added a
Do I
proton.
have all my samples, all the obsidian, all the gabbro?
Charge. How does it change?
Mason, you're not supposed to be on your phone. I confiscated 4 last hour.